Greetings all, Shane Bruce, Restomod Daisy, with another episode of our continuing series of instructional videos on how to disassemble each and every Daisy ever made. Well, at least as many of them as I have available to show you how to take them apart. What we got on the bench today are two guns. The short gun, the small gun, at the bottom is a Daisy Model 75 Scout. Now, this is one of the small frame, short barrel guns that Daisy made specifically for very young shooters. To compare it size-wise, we've got an older model, number 111 Model 40 Red Ryder, which you would probably consider, or I consider to be the standard full-size small frame Daisy. It's just there for a comparison so you can see that the barrel of the Model 75 is a bit shorter and the shot tube is correspondingly a bit shorter as well. You'll notice a lot of similarities between the two guns because they're the same gun, they're just packaged a little bit differently. The number 111 Model 40 was the original Red Ryder. It's once again a full-size small frame, and the Model 75 is the youth model. Still has the same internal components, same trigger, same lever, same power plant, but a shorter shot tube. So what we're going to show you today is how to take a look at the gun, assess the gun, and then take the gun apart and put the gun together. So here's the old 75, and it's pretty average condition-wise, as you can see. We'll go ahead and continue the video in spite of the clitter-clatter of toes.
And mom's home.
As we were saying, we're going to take this Model 75 apart today and put it back together as, you know, a continuation of our experiments that we had about 10 days ago. Let's get a shot of the old roll stamp. As you can see, this is a Model 75 Scout, and it was built in Plymouth, Michigan. So this is a prior to 1958 gun. Now, there's a couple of oddities on the piece, and I'm pretty sure I know why they're there. These are Phillips head screws. And typically, most guns from Plymouth had a standard slot screw, as you see up there. The Phillips head screws, I believe, are superior to the standard slots because they're easy to manipulate. Let's roll on down to the front of the gun, and we'll take a look at the plastic forearm, plastic barrel band. Has one screw holding the bottom of the assembly together. And then we'll cruise down to the shot tube. As we can see, it's one of those lose all your BB loading ports, and it is a short thread in rattle trap shake and bake Daisy assembly. So we're going to take the shot tube out. We're going to take a peek at it. It has its retaining spring. That's a good deal. It's got I would say that's a smallish funnel, but it's not beat up. There's no indication that these tube is twisted. The seam that runs down this section here is straight, so this one never had to get screwed out with a pipe wrench, and the bottle cap button is in the correct spot, so that's good. This assembly is ready to work. Let's take a look down the barrel if we can. Yeah, it could be a little tougher than it looks, and see if we see an air tube sticking out.
Okay.
All right. Try to get this done and get some illumination down here.
Okay, put the light. Yeah, okay. Alright. Yeah, kind of.
Sticking out?
If they know what it is, they can see it. If they don't know what it is, they're boned.
Well, they'll see it in just a second.
This is a professional channel, not amateur hour. Alright, let's go.
So we have an air tube. Alright, so now we're going to take the little guy apart. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the forearm assembly. So we just take a Phillips screwdriver, and we dismount this screw, like so. Once we get it out of there, we'll place it off to the side. Slide the barrel band forward, utilizing thumb pressure, off the end of the muzzle. Stick that over there, put that inside that so we know what it's for. Pop the barrel band off. Now, because this is a Daisy Model 75 Scout, it does not have, if we'll look up here on the Red Ryder, this is called the lightning loader system. This is actually just a fake tube. There's a small ramp right here that feeds BBs into the main barrel shroud. So this was put there as a look item, stylistic, to make sure that it looked more like a Winchester lever action than not. You'll notice that this gun has no such device. So in order to get the forearm to mount, what they did was they tack welded a little metal bracket right there, and the forearm just kind of pops on there, and off you go. when it's installed. So anyway, you'll not uncommon to see these squarish metal brackets on the bottom of the shroud. And this is the compression chamber here. This is a late enough gun to have the oil hole here located up on top of the shroud. And that was a design change they made when they transitioned from the leather seals to the plastic seals. So we've got our fore end off, we've got our shot tube out, we've got our barrel band removed. Next step, let's flip her over, make sure we're not fighting nuts. We're not. Well, this one's been drilled before. Something happened there. It also has these two holes. These were set up for the Daisy Model 101, 102, 103, and 104 telescopic sights, which in fact had no glass in them at all, just a cosmetic metal tube you could stick on top of the gun. And they look cool and actually don't work too badly as a kind of a cheap peep sight. So we take the stock bolt off. Their next one we go to is the top stock screw. This is a screw, not a bolt. And you can tell the difference because this has rough threads, whereas this has smooth shank and fine threads. All right, at this point in time, we kick the lever out a little bit, wiggle the sight to the rear, or the buttstock to the rear, and lo and behold, here's our trigger return spring. I'll unscrew this real quick. It's pretty common for these to be all messed up like this. And the main reason for that is that most of these exit the stocks themselves straight, but on the way to the back of the trigger to embed themselves in a small notch we'll show you in a bit, they get a bit kinked. So this gun was built in Plymouth, Michigan. It's 60 years old. And for 60 years of use, that's probably not bad deformation. It will still work. We'll stick it back in the gun. You can replace these with aftermarket products, but Daisy does not sell a new old stock version of that anymore. Okay, our next step is to pull the lever out, and we'll see that it's a 3-star lever. This is one of my favorite Daisy levers. I think that's a nice bit of work there from an art point of view. All right, so we take the lever bolt out. Once again, not a screw, but a bolt. Boof, voila, fine threads. Bolt comes out. And that's pretty self-explanatory. It's a high pivot lever because this is later in the production cycle. The next thing we're going to do is pull the trigger assembly. So we just grab our trigger bolt. We take it out. We pull our trigger out of the way. Now we've got everything out of the way so that we can get to getting the spring stop out. And once that's removed, we'll be able to get the plunger assembly out and take a peek at it. So I'm going to look first. And you'll notice that this is a 90-degree back plate, and there doesn't appear to be a whole lot of protrusions on either side. So I'm going to try this first with my nice custom tool trigger, the mainspring compressor I built, and we're going to see if this will fit. If it will fit, we'll take it apart with it. If it won't fit, we'll go with the plastic tube. All right, so we insert the compressor into the back of the receiver and we push down. All right, that tells us that it's engaged. It's still in there pretty tight though. Oops, it slipped off. This is probably going to be an issue then. Getting it out of there. It did slip off. So off to the vise we go. We have to extract the tool, which could be a bit spotty.
Uh-oh.
Oh my God, that is really in there.
We need to pause.
I think we need to pause.
All right, we're pausing. Live.
Okay, we've extracted the really nice mainspring compression tool, and we've gone back to the old standard. So we're compressing a mainspring. We're getting our spring anchor wiggled out. It's not cooperating very well, so we're going to grab a pair of pliers and get a little more forceful with it. All right, let's go back on it again. It's not always such a woolly bear, but today it is. That's why I don't like. I much prefer my other tool because it won't slip off the.
But it's too big, so.
Yeah, it will not fit. But, oh, Jesus. This is ridiculous.
Oh, there you go. You got it. Yahtzee.
Ah,
She's a cruel mistress, but she does come out.
'tis true.
Tis true. All right, where are we going with this?
We're going to strip that plunger assembly out.
All right, let's go.
And by doing this, we just pull it out like so.
Pull it out like so, people.
And as we can see, it does not have a foam shroud on it, but it does have a compression cup. And it's it's not a blown tube. It hasn't been drilled, and it has a square notch. Spring looks pretty good. A little bit heftier than I would have thought, but it's in there.
Sick. All right.
All right. So now we take a look at the interior of our compression cup, and we see that there is a seal there, but that hole looks a bit big, a bit large. So probably what we ought to do is stick a new set of seals on it, and we will do that, and then reassemble the gun.
Trading, please.
All right, now
Oh, shit.
we have a rubber seal that's embedded in the gun behind the abutment washer. What you need to do is get a slender tube, roughly about a 1/4 inch in diameter, because we're going to knock that out. And you just push this through the abutment washer.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Haha.
Oh my, take a look at this.
Jeez.
Where did these come from?
Crust. They're BBs. Are they BBs?
No, they're not. They look like Targeteer BBs.
Little baby BBs.
Little baby BBs for the Daisy only built one gun. It shot those, and that was the
Wow. I
Targeteer
was gonna
pistol.
say we don't even have a BB to compare it to for these viewers.
But now, as we can look down
Which
here,
is rather ironic.
we can see that the hole for the
Oh yeah, here we go.
abutment washer is much larger in diameter.
Oh, look at that.
Right.
All right.
And to check our hypothesis that the seal itself, we'll take a look now. There were at least 3 BBs in there because
Yeah,
there's 3
they're all
little divots.
imprinted. Yeah.
Now, how in the world did that
I don't know, dude.
get done that way?
Oh, here, let me grab a BB off the
They
floor.
were trapped. So normally the abutment seal will sit. Let's get this oriented right. The abutment seal sits, and you can see where these 2 tabs are metal tabs that hold the abutment washer in place inside, right up in here. And this faces that, and then this section with the slightly elevated profile actually goes here. You know what? That's not really chewed up too bad. We're going to stick it back in like it is. All right, but the 3 BBs, the 3 amigos that were hiding out in there all this time. God, that is so weird. All right, so in order to reinstall this, we're going to get a little guide rod to help us with the job. We're going to put it back in the vise, and we're going to reinstall it. And then we're going to fight with that spring to get it compressed in order to get it back together.
Yeah,
So a simple piece of wire with one end that's tapered so that you can fit it in the beginning of the air tube. And then that assembly is set. Let's go ahead and go back to the bench vise. We'll get this set in. Now we'll feed our plunger assembly. And I think we'll go this side up. Fish that down in through here. Now with the abutment washer on the plunger assembly, it's a little bit easier to get the reinstall done. Not through a pile of stuff on your bench.
Oh, the horde can stay. Ooh. There it goes.
I'll get the other short tube so I can spin this rascal to get it oriented right. There we are. All right, so now we're in. It's slid in place. I'm going to use a tool to get that plate. Go ahead and get that shot you were trying to get. Let's see if we can see that right now
You got a light for me?
right now the plunger assembly.
You need some light on top? Oh, there we go.
See how
Perfect.
it is kind of cocked off to one side or the other?
Yeah.
It should be straight up and down. So we're going to make that adjustment before we try to reinstall.
Okay.
No, that was actually in there pretty straight.
Yeah, this is pretty solid.
All right, so now we grab our trusty tool. Oh my. And our trusty spring anchor.
Right.
So what we're going to do is make contact with the mainspring with the tool.
All over again, baby.
All over again. We're going to fight this war again.
You guys thought it was hard to get it out. We should try to get this bitch back in.
It's slipping off. It's just being recalcitrant. Ow.
Careful.
Band-Aid time.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, slice myself good. No Band-Aids available.
We need to pause and get you a Band-Aid.
No, we're gonna find my blue tape that Jimmy used to.
It's right in front of you. Right under your nose.
There we go. And we're gonna do a field expedient Band-Aid.
Oh my god, just going full man shop on it.
Well, listen, I don't want to be bleeding all over the place. Anyway, these edges.
It's not a cooking show. You're fine.
These edges. That's true. These edges are sharp.
Yeah.
They be sharp.
Careful, viewers.
Okay, and there's my spring anchor. I'm not getting bite on both sides. All right. Put it in the slot. Push it up. Naturally. And it slipped off right at the point of attack. So now we got to re-engage, which could be difficult. I tell you.
Oh my god, pause.
I'm thinking we just trashed this video. This turned into a fucking circus.
We can. We're at 1640 right now.
Or we could just keep shooting.
I mean, we're free balling it. It's up to you.
Well, I'm gonna see if I can.
We can get this thing back on. We can trash it. It's not a big deal to me. It was alright.
It's irritating though.
Yeah, well, that's the whole
When
concept of this.
you do something every day and it's simple and easy, and then you try to show folks how to do it and it falls apart.
Yeah.
Because
Of course, when everyone's watching you, is when it's going to be the most practical. When is it not? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
Is there always a pain about it?
Now I'm thinking air tube is binding on the washer. Yeah, because that's out of the socket. So we got to pull the whole thing out and do it again. You know, keep rolling. This is more typical of actual work. It's not all seamless.
True.
Yeah. See, what was happening there was our guide fell out. Mm-hmm. So our air tube was not centered in the abutment washer.
Okay.
Which means that it was pushing low or pushing high.
Yeah.
And you don't want to beat it through because you can beat one through there.
Yeah, well, let's see what you don't want to do.
But if you do that, you'll definitely ruin your washer. And of course, we're working blind here.
Of course. Do you want me to shine a light for you?
Nah, that's just it's a dark hole.
Shooting blind. You'll figure it out.
If I can see what I'm doing.
Oh yeah, get your nice readers off.
God. I'll reposition this. The comedy of errors.
I mean, that'll happen.
Hand me that flashlight. All right.
With the power of light.
With the power of vision.
Oh, the woes of old age.
Hey, I'm not that old. All right, I'm pretty ancient. But...
I was say you're getting Social Security, Dad. You're old.
Yeah.
Mark and Martin.
Yeah, fucking whippersnapper.
Look at this out. Let's go.
I remember back in the day, and I bet you we slipped that again. No, we didn't.
Okay.
No, we didn't.
All right.
It's just being, there we go. All right, so now we're in position. Let's get this the freaking anchor.
Spring anchor is on the base.
Our really supposedly trusty. Man, it just will not get bites.
Happy baby today. Oh, here we go. Oh. Wooden dowel time.
Get that reseated. And it binds up on the, it won't get bite on the spring. So I'm going to do something different here. Change the angle there maybe. Hallelujah.
All right. Extra 5 minutes later, we got it in. Minty. Way to go, Dad.
So, once again, proof positive. Anybody can work on a daisy. All right, so now we've got our plunger assembly in the gun. We have the mainspring installed.
Look at
mainspring anchor installed.
Beautiful. Back end.
So now we're going to put the rest of the gun back together and see if it works.
Yep.
First step is going to be putting the trigger in. So you just slide it in there.
Cheeky.
Line those holes up. And drop your trigger bolt through. Here, let's show them this way.
Oh, okay.
So you gotta drop it through.
Yeah, I get where you're going. You're gonna slide it through the tree birch there.
Okay, and then line it up on that hole.
Alright, they got the idea. It's also like if they couldn't figure that out, then they probably don't need to be working on their own daisies.
Let's not say that. They should be working on their own daisies. I'm trying to show you that it's not fluid, always simple, easy, zip, 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 zip. No. There are issues. Things refuse to do what they're supposed to do. So the next thing we're going to do is put the lever on. That one worked pretty well.
Nice.
All
Flawless.
Right. Flawlessly. Now, I meant to show you guys this, but we'll show it to you now when it's really hard to see it.
Oh, yeah. That's the best time to do
it. Back of the trigger right there is a small protrusion.
See it.
All right, that's what this little spring has got to fit through.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to line that up.
Line your dots, your slides with your springs. And
fight with it until you get it where it's supposed to be. As you can see now, the spring has sleeved over that little extension, so the trigger will work. And look. Oh, the trigger works. It's fucking amazing.
All
right, now we drop our stock bolt in. There's a weird mishmash of parts on this gun.
It's a little Frankenstein man.
Yeah, well, it's normal for daisies of this vintage. I mean, example, see how flat that top of that screw is?
Yeah.
That looks like something that would have come out of early
flat.
Rogers production.
Very round.
Round. So these two have probably been replaced, probably by me. I don't know. The gun's been here a while. Then we put the top stock screw in, like that. All right, next step is getting the forearm back on it. So we visually line that up as best we can. If you're uncertain that you're in the right spot, use a probe, because you've got to get that screw through the hole. Drop that down, like so. And normally, in terms of which end of the forearm goes to the front of the gun, you want to be able to read the Daisy logo there where it says, "It's a Daisy." So Daisy should be toward the butt, and ITSA should be toward the front. And we take our barrel band and just kind of slip that in, put them in place. And we take an air tube, our air tube, a correct air tube, because an air tube often, a larger Daisy won't fit this gun. And then I guess we ought to put a BB in it.
There's one right there, next to our little baby ones.
One probably isn't a good idea. Probably should put 2.
And there's like 18 gazillion on the ground, so.
Yeah, there's no shortage of them. So we'll drop a few in there, just so there's some stuff to rattle around.
Get the full ambiance.
Get that BB into the feed ramp, and our button's in place. So now, we're going to shake it a little bit. We're going to arm it one time. We're going to pull up our can target. It works.
All right.
So that's how you take a Daisy model, 75 apart, put it back together again, and, you know, screw a couple things up along the way. But even with that, it's inevitable. Sooner or later, if you make enough of these mainspring compression tools, you'll find one that actually works well. All 3 of these models work, but it does seem like every little gun's got its peccadillos. I still like this one the best. This is the oldest, and this one works really well on the plastic trigger guns. They don't have those metal tabs on the sides of the back plate. All right, kids, well, that's all we've got for you today. This is Shane Bruce with Restomod Daisy, signing off.